Oh my, I know. I'm full of paint. I'm still in my painting stuff. The sign is done and just fully curing before I spray it for sealing. But I was watching. I was watching a channel I just started watching. Grandma Doherty, something like that. I was seeing a clip where she was trying to crawl. She fell off the chair. She was trying to crawl, whatever. And it started, and she was just laughing. But they came back in. She's like, I thought I'd get there before you got back. But anyway, I'm laughing because it reminded me, and you really need to try to visualize this. I'm in Tucson, Arizona. I lived there for 32 years. Left here when I was just, you know, within a year after high school. I'm pregnant. I've got a 10-year-old at the time. And then I'm pregnant with twins, which I shouldn't have been able to get pregnant with. And even though I couldn't get pregnant, I wasn't supposed to be able to. I was still taking birth control pills, and I still wound up pregnant the first time. Yay! And twins, too. Twins don't run in my mom's side. They run in the maternal side. But they don't run in my mom's side of the family. They run in my dad's side, but they run in his first wife's, not my mom's. So, yeah, I don't know where they came from. It was in Arizona, and I was about 6 months pregnant in the summer. It's hot there in the summer. I mean, there's summers that easily triple digit, you know. And just me and my other child, my oldest son, and at the time, and those twins. I had preeclampsia. I had, all this crap just because I was like in my early 40s and with twins. But actually, I had eclampsia, I think. Anyway, um, they were big. They wound up coming like a few weeks, or seriously early, um, and they would have been full, 8 7 8 pounders. They were like amazing, but at any rate, they at I was pretty heavy, pregnant, and I went to the bathroom. In the master bedroom, I had a double wide, and the master bedroom, my bedroom had, um, it didn't have the counter right next to the toilet. It was about that far from it. So there wasn't anything right next to it that you could push up on. And normally you wouldn't need to, or I wouldn't, but the babies were lying all over my sciatic nerve and underneath my rib right here. I mean, you would see a foot. They were kicking. I now find out that there was a time that one of them, the one that's my son, he had an issue going on that we didn't realize until he was born, but that's probably because they say it's very painful. So that's probably what that was. There was like a week where I mean, there was just so much movement. And they were one of them was sitting on my sciatic nerve. Some of you are probably groaning right now. If you've had sciatic nerve issues, you know it sucks. And if it's because of something like that, that's putting the pressure on it, ain't nothing you can really fucking do about it. until you have the baby. So, kind of effed, you know. And I'm going to the bathroom. I had to pee so bad, and I got a good kick. And I finished, and I went to get up, and I couldn't put any weight on one leg. I could not put any weight on that leg. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't do it on one leg. I'm freaking pregnant with twins halfway through. And it was like over an hour before my 10-year-old got home from school. I tried a few times. I even kicked off my underwear because I figured at least my legs aren't bound. If anybody who's been pregnant, especially if you've had multiples, you can't maneuver super well when you're that pregnant with your underwear frickin' around your ankles. So I kicked it off to get just desperation. And it's like the longer I sat, the more the ring around your ass gets. And I was trying to and I was losing more and more strength in my leg. It was just like I just had to readjust, but I couldn't get up to readjust enough. Oh my God, I was panicking. I'm like, they didn't have cell phones, and the phone isn't in the bathroom. And I thought, okay, if I just wait until the kid comes home. I mean, the door was unlocked, Normally I'm doing something, cleaning or something when he gets in. And I hear the door finally. It was at least an hour. And I hear, Mom, because usually I greet him when I hear, him coming in. And I was like, come in here, honey. And as he's coming, he goes, Mom, where are you? I was like, wait, just stay right there, okay? I got a towel, put it over my lap. And I said, come on in. And I hear him in the bedroom, and I'm like, I'm in the bathroom. Don't worry, come in. I'm covered. And I really told him. I mean, I didn't want to tell a 10-year-old, but it was like, he said, Mom, do you want me to go over to the neighbors? And I'm like, yeah, this is just what I need, for the neighbors to come over with me and my underwear somewhere in the tub. And I'm like on the toilet without any I mean, I do not need this. My neighbor, no. And he's like, do you want me to call the ambulance? I'm like, oh my God, not really. That's just as bad. Anybody who's been pregnant knows what I'm talking about. And I'm trying not to panic him, but I had all that time to think beforehand. So I was like, listen, I could have done this before you got home, but I was worried in case it didn't work the way I was hoping it would. I need help. I just wanted you to be here. So just go into the living room, watch something, and I'm going to try to get up, okay? If I call you, come in. Otherwise, if you hear me, ow, ow, ah, don't freak out, okay? I'm trying to get up, that's all. I didn't have a bad wrist or a bad foot yet. Well, I did, but anyway, so he says, okay, are you sure? I'm like, yes. I just wanted somebody there that could get to a phone if something happened, because you have to remember, we didn't have cell phones, okay? 20 years ago. And that was the thing that was stressing me. If I hurt myself and I needed help, I'd have to wait till he got back, got home from school. Because I was single mom. So, I kind of tall, control fall, kind of leaned kind of over so I could reach the counter, but I was like half off the toilet, leaning that far type of thing. And I just kind of, and I plopped on my hip. It was killing my knees. And I had a towel, and I got up and I kneeled on the towel, one knee and then the other knee, and I did this little with my knees on the towel, and I did a crawl, just a little bit, just wiggling, so my knees were not being killed because it was all that tile. It's just like uneven and it's killer. So I got out of the bathroom and into the bedroom, and that had a carpet on it. So then I continued to crawl without the towel. And I just crawled and I kind of drug myself up on the bed till I was sitting, and I'm like, okay, now that I'm sitting on something, I'm good to go. But you got all that extra weight. You're already trying to compensate with all that weight, and then and as soon as I was up on the bed, I'm like, okay, I'm okay, honey. I'm good. So let me get some pants on. Yeah. Talk to you how your day was. But the first thing he said is, "You want me to get the neighbor really smart?" And I'm like, "Oh God, no! I don't need that old guy over here." And the other neighbor, I don't need her here either. And then when he's like, "Do you want me to call the ambulance then?" I'm like, "No, not really." And he even said, "Mom, they don't care. They'll just help you up." I'm like, I know, but no. It was, at the time, it was mortifying, but I think it was more because I didn't want my kid to be scared, because some things had happened prior when he was like 6, and I had an ovarian cyst burst while I was driving, and if you want to hear that story, I'll tell you that story. That was an amazing. Wow, what a story that was. It comes actually as a secondary story, the final part, after when I was working at the prisons in Arizona. I had a really bad. They thought I was having an appendicitis had ruptured. As an officer, they had an ambulance, had to take me out with all the seriously. And then what they found was I had an ovarian cyst, and that whole story was like, oh my God. But I had to have two pain injections before I could even lie flat. And then just 3 months later, the second part happened, and it had burst. I kept going to the doctor. They kept telling me it's not big enough. It's not big enough to cause a problem. I kept telling him I'm having problems. And when the bastard burst on me, because when I finally got into the hospital after that one, they didn't see any. They said, you have no cyst. And I said, go look at St. Mary. Go look at just a few months back. And they come back about an hour later. They're like, yeah, you did have a cyst, and it's not there, so we can only deduce that it burst and all that crap was in me. So yeah, that was another. The whole way that played out was just, universe was absolutely there for me. That was another story that. So I didn't want, that was just 4 years before. I didn't want him freaking out again, or, well, he didn't freak out. He was good then, but universe helped a lot with that. So if you want to hear that story, I'll tell you that story. That was freaking bizarre. It's a two-part like story, or two two parts. Yeah, I mean I could tell it in one part, but yeah, that was crazy shit. Um, I literally could not stand up because the twins were just laying in such a way that they had totally incapacitated my sciatic nerve. I literally, I couldn't put any weight. As soon as I put the tiniest bit, it just collapsed on. It took it took probably a couple weeks before it was fully better. But man, let me know if anybody has been pregnant and had the kids sitting on your sciatic nerve. I understand that's not that uncommon. It's not like it happens to half the people, but it's not like it's a rare thing either. Especially, well, that makes sense too. If there's more than one baby in there, there's less room, so it would make sense as they start moving, somebody's going to hit the area pretty good. But yeah, that took a few weeks before they fully like were off it and off it long enough that it kind of recovered from that. I guess you would call it a trauma, just of being, pushed and kind of not necessarily crushed, but restricted for so long. Takes a little bit of time to kind of get back. But yeah, that was wild. But anyway, yeah, I was just watching her when I saw her crawling and laughing at the same time because she understood the absurdity of what this looked like. I just started laughing because I remembered that because I know that feeling. I must have been looking the same way, just like this is awful. At the same time, I understand it must look absolutely frockin' ridiculous. This is like so stupid. I cannot believe I'm sitting here crawling off of the toilet. This is like ridiculous. Yeah. Sometimes to keep from crying, you laugh, and that's true. It's just they're both stress relief. It just But anyway, I'm gonna go take a take a shower because that was like I said, I just got finished painting my sign, and I had to tell y'all. Peace out.